Imagine a grad student bets his entire life savings meant for tuition on online poker and gets cheated. Will he be able to get it all back, or will he get himself involved in a much deeper scheme? Hey guys, it's Bodhi here from Explained, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be watching a movie called Runner Runner, which was released back in 2013. Let's get started. Turn on the subtitles and spoilers ahead. The rise in internet users has given gambling a new line of customers to make more money from, with the industry amassing figures up to 30 billion just from its online users. And taking a minute piece of that huge amount is Richie First, a grad student at Princeton University. To fund his master's degree, Richie acts as an affiliate, who gets commission for every time he signs up a fellow student to online gambling sites. However, this doesn't go for too long, as his dean finds out about this and threatens to expel Richie if he's once again found to be promoting online gambling to students at the university. With his only source of income blocked and tuition due in just a few months, Richie decides to risk it all. He takes his entire life savings of worth $17,782 and uses it to play poker in an online gambling site called Midnight Black. Richie is confident that with his excellent poker skills, he can easily get back his money and win a large sum to pay up his tuition fees. He explains to his friends that with statistics and studying player behavior, there's absolutely no way he can lose. In a few hours, Richie is up by $50,000, and he doesn't take his friend's advice to quit and cash in his winnings. He's convinced he can make a lot more. Soon, luck turns its way, and Richie starts to lose round after round against a player who he thought to be bad at poker. At the end, he's left with zero balance in his online gambling profile. Richie feels something is wrong, so he consults with his friend who's a statistics expert. After reviewing player behavior and every poker round played, his friend suggests that it's extremely rare or even impossible that someone could win that many rounds in succession. Together, they come to a conclusion that Richie was cheated on in the game. With no money left to pay his tuition, Richie decides to fly to Costa Rica to confront Ivan Block, the owner of Midnight Black and one of the tycoons of the online gambling industry. After getting inside a party thrown by Ivan Block, Richie tries to get his attention by showing messages at the CCTV camera. Soon he gets caught by the bodyguards who take him to Ivan Block. After meeting Ivan, Richie gets straight to the point and claims that he was cheated on his website. Ivan doesn't believe him and says that he needs to accept the fact that he lost his money fair and square and needs to move on. But then, Richie shows him statistical data which clearly proves that Richie was cheated on Ivan's gambling website. After being proven wrong, Ivan invites Richie to his yacht the next day. Ivan thanks him for not exposing his site, which could have ended the credibility of his site. Ivan explains that his site builders had written a back code through which they were cheating and defrauding the players. He has since fired them all and credits Richie's bank account with the $17,782 he lost. Ivan has been so impressed by Richie's knowledge that he offers him a job. Since Richie was intelligent enough to notice that he was being scammed, Ivan wants him to stay in Costa Rica and help him run the site. Ivan tells Richie that if he stays and works for him, he can make millions of dollars in just 1 year. The offer seems so lucrative for Richie that he accepts it. With just 3 months of working for Ivan, Richie starts to earn a lot of money and even brings his friends on board to work with him. Ivan has assigned Richie with the responsibility to take over everything related to his online gambling website, and Richie has been doing a great job. During this short period of time, he also starts to take a liking to Ivan's ex-girlfriend, Rebecca, who still works for him. And it turns out that it isn't a one-sided attraction thing, as Rebecca starts to flirt back with Richie. However, it doesn't take long for Ivan to notice what's happening. Rebecca asks if he wants her to stay away from Richie, but Ivan acts like everything is cool, and he has no objections with his ex-girlfriend and employee being together. One day, on his way to meet a very important client, Richie gets kidnapped by some Costa Ricans, who take him to FBI agent Shavers, who tells Richie that his employer Ivan isn't as good of a person as he makes himself out to be. Shavers tells Richie that Ivan doesn't only have his hands in gambling, but also takes part in a lot of illegal things. In order to convict Ivan and take him to jail in America, Shavers asks Richie to act as a spy and help collect enough evidence on Ivan. Richie doesn't know anything about Ivan's personal life, so he refuses to take part in spying on his employer. But his rejection isn't taken lightly, as Shavers threatens to ruin his life in every possible way if he disagrees to help him. Despite being warned, Richie goes to Ivan and tells him about his encounter with Shavers. Upon hearing the FBI agent's name, Ivan acts unsurprised and tells Richie to just ignore Shavers as he has no jurisdiction in Costa Rica, and is placing baseless accusations just so he can extort money out of him. Richie decides to follow Ivan's advice and goes on with his life like normal. While trying to get a deal signed with a gambling affiliate, Richie finds it hard to negotiate. He goes to Ivan and tells him that the deal isn't possible. Upon hearing this, Ivan gets mad and tells Richie that maybe he isn't fit for this job. Out of fear of losing his job, Richie assures Ivan that he will get the deal signed. Desperate to earn a large amount of money in commission, Richie steps out of his usual self and does something illegal. He blackmails the gambling affiliate by recording some private videos of him and threatening to send them to his wife and kids. After getting the deal signed, Richie takes it to Ivan, who quite generously hands him a huge bonus as a token of appreciation. To celebrate, Richie throws a huge party and invites Rebecca, and after the party, the two share an intimate moment, which both of them later label as a one-time thing and nothing serious. The next day, one of Richie's friends tells him that he's quitting and returning to the US. When Richie asks the reason behind it, Sam tells him that he was nabbed by shavers and was told exactly the same thing that Richie was told a few days back. Having been through this himself, Richie tells his friend to ignore all of this and stresses that the FBI agent Shavers can't do anything. But Sam is convinced that something isn't right and has made the decision to quit and return back to the United States. He even advises his friend Andrew to follow him, but Andrew is loving the lifestyle and money in Costa Rica, so he decides to stay. Before leaving, Sam tells Richie to think carefully about what he should do. Just seconds later, Richie gets a call from Ivan, who tells him to handle a simple job for him. Rebecca asks Ivan to let someone else do the job, but Ivan asks what's wrong with Richie doing it. He implies if there's nothing going on between them, so Rebecca keeps silent. Richie gets handed a briefcase with money to give to Costa Rica's gambling director, Herrera. It's basically a bribe, so Ivan doesn't want to do it himself. Richie gets welcomed when he hands the briefcase to Herrera, but Ivan had accidentally sent a very small amount of money to embarrass Herrera, and when Herrera finds out about this, he gets mad. To save himself, Richie tells him that he'll speak to Ivan, and also offers to pay for their party, which doesn't sit well with Herrera. Embarrassed by the offer Ivan sent to him, Herrera has his men beat up Richie to send a strong message to Ivan. After getting beaten up, Richie goes to Ivan and asks why he sent him to do such a dangerous job. Ivan tells him that if he wants to make big money, he needs to deal with such things. Basically, Richie gets told to endure it all. After seeing this side of him, Richie decides that it's too dangerous to stay in Costa Rica with Ivan. He decides to fly back to the United States, but before he could catch the flight, he gets caught by the Costa Rican police. The police had planted drugs in Richie's luggage and catch him for drug smuggling, and the man behind all this is Agent Shivers, who once again threatens him to bring the evidence to prove Ivan is a fraud. Shavers uses the drugs to blackmail Richie, and tells him that if he helps them, he'll make all of this go away. Richie goes back to work and meets his friend Andrew, who has found many suspicious financial activities on Ivan's website. Just then, Richie gets called by Ivan, who has found out that Richie was trying to leave Costa Rica. Ivan then reveals that he has kept Richie's father hostage, so that he'll never try to flee Costa Rica again or try to double-cross him. Richie goes and meets his father, who tells him not to worry about him and do whatever possible to get himself out of this situation. Richie then takes out the money he has earned and uses it to bribe some local police and goons to keep himself safe. Among them, he also gives quite a lot of money to a guy named El Capitan. While Richie gets busy trying to get protection, he gets chased down by FBI agent Shavers yet again, as he's been hiding from them. Shavers catches him and gives him one last chance to get the evidence on Ivan, or else he'll have to spend the rest of his life in Costa Rican prison. Desperate to find evidence, Richie goes to see his friend, who had formerly claimed to have found some irregular financial activities on Ivan's website. But Richie finds out that his friend Andrew has been missing. He looks everywhere for his friend's apartment and finally finds a pen drive. He sees the content of that pen drive to find out that Ivan has been using his poker site for money laundering and was stealing from many players online. He was using the players' account and their money to fund his business all around the world. He then finds out that most of the transactions in the site were signed under his own name. It all makes it look like Richie's the one doing the illegal transactions, and not Ivan. Richie finds Rebecca and asks about all of this. Rebecca tells him that Ivan has always been defrauding people. In fact, she broke up with him because of all this. But since her name was already associated with his business, she couldn't leave him completely due to the fear of getting caught by the police. She then reveals Ivan's master plan. Ivan was already monitoring Richie as a target and intentionally made him lose in online poker so he would come to Costa Rica. It was all part of Ivan's plan so he could get Richie to work for him, and later frame it all on him. She tells him that Ivan is planning to leave Costa Rica and settle in Antigua with all the money he made from the poker site. Since Antigua is miles away from the US and its jurisdiction, the FBI can't touch him, and all of the blame will fall on Richie, so he'll be the one to go to jail. After knowing the real reason why he was brought to Costa Rica, Richie starts to plan for his survival. He takes more money and gives it to El Capitan. Just when he's about to leave, Ivan's bodyguards find him and reveals that he knows about Richie's plan to escape from Costa Rica. But Ivan needs him to stay, to take the fall for him. Ivan's bodyguard threatens him to come with him, but just when we see the goons that Richie was paying a lot of money to come to his rescue and beat up Ivan's bodyguard. Since the gambling director Herrera and Ivan aren't on good terms, the police raid Ivan's office ready to catch him, but Ivan is already on his way to fly out of Costa Rica. He sarcastically calls Richie and apologizes to him for making him the fall guy. But Richie is also on his way out, as he bribes some policemen and manages to get his dad and himself out of Costa Rica. Ivan and Rebecca fly out of Costa Rica on a private jet. When they finally land and Ivan steps out of his plane, he sees Richie waiting for him. He looks around to see that he's actually landed on Puerto Rico and not Antigua. Turns out Richie and Rebecca were working together to get Ivan out of Costa Rica into the US, and the El Capitan, who Richie had been giving a lot of money, is actually a pilot. Shavers finally catches Ivan and has enough proof to put him behind bars for many years. In the end, Richie flies out with Rebecca in the same private jet that was brought in by Ivan. Thank you so much for watching. Tell us your thoughts about the movie down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and do watch some of our other videos as well. And before you leave, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more movie recaps.